Uh, how are you?
I'm very good. How about
Yeah,
you?
fine. It's a pleasure to speak with you about this album. Um, uh, it's very nostalgia for me.
Yeah,
It reminds me old days.
yeah, yeah.
uh, I think it's what you want
Absolutely.
with this band.
No, absolutely. It's of course a big element. There's a lot of nostalgia. Uh, I also believe that it fills a void in today's music scene, and that it it makes sense today. You know, it's not all about nostalgia. It's something that's timeless. It's a tradition of songwriting, performing, and producing that has been lost. You know, so it's very important that the music that we release makes people feel that we're moving forward and not just looking back. And I heard somebody describing the Night Flight Orchestra's music as bringing you back to tomorrow. Somebody said, and that kind of it kind of makes sense. I would say, of course,
Mm.
there's a big element in the music that connects you to your childhood. That's a big thing,
Yes,
and that's a big element, a big part of it. Uh, but somehow it needs to make sense now as well, and sort of fill a void in the music scene.
and about this album, what's your inspiration? The same as the previous ones?
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to say exactly, what bands or artists. I mean, it's very diverse. We wanted to make something even more sort of varied and multi-layered. There's 13 songs on the album, and
Mm.
for every album we want the album to take you on a journey. To really it needs to be multi-layered and with lots of turns and surprises. And uh, with this band, we can also move between different genres on the same album, and it's still making sense.
Mm.
And that's another thing that I guess it's rooted in nostalgia in a way, but also a tradition in the 70s and 80s where bands could have like a reggae song and a progressive rock song and for 7 minute long on the same album, and it still made sense, and so I think this band, the guiding star is sort of like we can do whatever we want, and let's let's just be over the top with everything. So I think that's always the guiding star, and then you never really know what's going to come out. But we had more time writing this album
Mm.
and recording it, and I think we needed that, because we've been releasing quite frequently, and we needed a little bit of a break. And obviously, with the passing of our guitarist David Anderson as well, we needed to regroup and find the
Of
joy
course.
around the music again and feel really inspired. And I think this came out, it became something really creative, and it's an album that we feel like we've done everything possible um, to make the best album we could ever do at this point. So it means a lot to us, and I hope people can really feel the sincerity and
Mm.
the explosion of emotions that runs through this album.
What do you think is different from the previous one?
Maybe I think Aromantic 1 and 2 had sort of like, maybe people didn't really feel that from the outside, but with David, he was in a pretty dark on a pretty dark path, and you could feel lyrically and also at times musically that he was not really in a good place. It doesn't mean that the music wasn't good. It was fantastic, and his
Mm.
contributions were always amazing. But I think this album is slightly more uplifting, and but also it's important to us to have the melancholic, element in our music and not just be a happy disco rock band. It's so much more than that. But I would say in general, this new album is slightly more positive and empowering than maybe Aromantic wanted.
Two singles are already released. How did you choose?
Yeah, I mean, always tough.
It's always
Actually,
hard.
yeah. Actually, today we have the third single. Give Us the Moon, the title track came out today. But yeah, I mean, choosing singles it's next to impossible. It's an impossible mission because it's and especially in, for us, we've had these songs in our heads for such a long time that we decided to ask friends, close friends that we trust, and also the label. And based on that, and also our own taste, of course, we came up with these songs. But it's very hard, very hard.
I imagine you
Yeah.
love all the songs.
I know. Yeah.
No. Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, they tend to vary, from week to week. I really love the Cosmic Tide on the album. It was also a big challenge for me to sing, and I think it turned out really nice. I love the opening track, Stratus. I'm also very proud of the ending song, Stewardess,
Yes.
Empress, and the Captain of Pain. A really epic song, and I've never written such a long song before, and it was also very much of a challenge for me, and I think it turned out to something very cool.
And what is the story behind the last song?
Well, it's actually a twin song together with Paloma. So Paloma it's a real life story, and a friend of me and my wife's. She's a stewardess in Italy, and she started dating the pilot. And the pilot turned out to be very nice and treated her pretty bad, but she kept coming back to him. And I felt so much frustration that I had to write a song, which was supposed to be the liberation song for her, and that became Paloma. That's not her real name. I actually found the name Paloma when we were flying home last year from Alicante. We played a festival there with Night Flight Orchestra, and on the flight home there was a stewardess named Paloma, and I was like, "That's the name," and I started writing the song in the air on the way back.
Okay.
And then I also decided to write this epic song about the pilot. So Stewardess, Empress, Hotness, and the Captain of Pain. That's the Captain of Pain. So I wrote also the pilot in that song. Yeah.
How the other musicians are involved in the composition?
Me, Sebastian, and Rasmus have written the songs on the album.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we have maybe 15, 16 songs total, and then we ended up with 13 in the end. That was also very hard to pick. Yeah.
And the other ones, no? Charlie or the other musician?
No, I mean anybody is allowed to write in the Night Flight Orchestra. There are no contracts saying that you.
Yes.
But this time around, and mostly me and Sebastian, and then Rasmus contributed with 2 songs.
Okay. And you plan a tour?
Yes.
Yes.
We are embarking on a European tour on the 30th of January, and the album is released the day after on 31st. And we play in France. We play in Lyon and in Paris. So yeah, Looking
Yes.
forward. Those were going to be great shows.
Yes.
Mm.
I would like to see you
Yes,
because
come and
I
see,
love the album.
yes, come and see us,
Yes.
please.
um, what can you say more about this album?
Well, what else can we say? Well, I mean, it's Rasmus Airborne's first album with the band. He's been touring with the band before, but he's replacing David, and I think he's doing a fantastic job and has a great melodic language. And I think people are going to be really excited to hear it. Fantastic playing, and I don't think people are gonna miss any elements. I think we managed to include everything that made this band famous in the first place. I think if people are having some doubts, you can just throw them away. I promise. You will love the album.
And also the artwork is is vintage, is
Yeah,
also
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's also a style. I mean,
mm,
for us, it's timeless, but of course, it has a vintage feel to it, you know.
mm,
And it was made by my wife,
yes.
and I work really closely with her on the cover, the concept, and I think it turned out really wonderful with the colors too. Really nice colors, and I think they stick out. You don't see these colors very much together.
Yes.
So really happy with it.
It's a 50s style.
Yeah, it has, yeah,
Yes.
I think you're right. Yeah, there's like some kind of
Mm,
a little
the
bit of
50,
50s style.
yes. It's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, cool. I'm glad you
uh,
like it.
yes, my favorite one, I can say it's um, Melbourne.
Really
Yes.
cool. Yeah,
And what is it about?
it's about well, when we were doing our first Australian tour in 2023 with the Night Flight Orchestra. We were flying via Dubai, and when we landed in Dubai, I got to know that my mom had breast cancer, which was really tough, of course, to travel all the way to Australia, so far away, to get this
Mm,
kind of call. Um, and but I had to stay strong, and we did the Australian tour, and we had some fantastic shows, and then it was sort of culminating in Melbourne, where it was an absolutely electric show, and I felt like I was surrounded by family and with the band and everyone. And after the show, I kind of broke down a bit because it was, yeah, I had to stay strong, but then
of
I
course.
kind of, you know, broke down, and it was just I don't know, a beautiful evening, and I had to write kind of like a tribute, to Melbourne and the Australian crowd, because even though I was so far away, I felt right at home, and there's always been something special. I mean, I've been 11 times to Australia with my other band, Soilwork, but this was the first time with Night Flight, so it was really special, and there was so many emotions, so it became a really special song, and my mom fought the cancer. She's alive and doing well. Knock, knock, knock. And yeah, so
Mm, it's great.
yeah,
So this album is very personal in a lot of songs.
yeah, I would say so. Yeah, possibly the most personal to date. Yes.
Yes. So I think we when you begin with this band, when you create the band,
Mhm.
do you think to make you will make a lot of albums, or it
Um,
was just a
no.
project?
Well, I mean, I felt that we had something really special, and I was hoping that it was going to last for a long time, but it was really, I don't know, my mind was not really there yet. I was so focused on writing songs and having fun, around it. It was a wonderful time. And then before we knew it, I mean, now we have a seventh album. It's and like I mentioned, we've been to Australia, we've been to South America. I mean, I don't think I would have believed that if you asked me back then. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, this band has given me a lot, and it has something really special. So,
you are still with Soilwork?
yes.
Yes. So you have two bands.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm doing the Jekyll and Hyde.
Yes. Organization.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. The logistics are pretty tough, and we try to divide things. And this year will mostly be about the Night Flight Orchestra. Next year, maybe a bit more Soilwork. So it's yeah.
Okay.
And I think a rest in between too, which is
if it works.
Yes. It needs to work.
Yes. Okay. Because it's not the same thing. Not the same music.
No, and I feel really grateful that I'm able to do two such different bands that are quite successful. It's I feel very blessed and very grateful.
Yes. Okay, so thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
this album.
Very
nice.
I'm glad you like it. I'm very glad.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. Okay, so come to the shows. I hope to see you there. Yes.
I will try to come.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.